In this video, you need to graph y equals x to the third, to the 1/3. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to try and find its instantaneous, its slope at any x point. To do that, I'm going to take the derivative of this. So x prime of x is now going to equal 1/3 x to the negative 2/3. You basically bring this down here and then you subtract 1 from 1/3, which is negative 2/3. Okay, so one thing to note here is that when x equals 0, y is undefined. So I'm going to leave this circle open. And looking at this function, trying to analyze if you have any different special values for x, where f prime of x is something special, we don't. That means that this is all we have to go on. This is going to be the only critical point, and it's an undefined point right here. So I'm going to analyze the slope when x is positive and when x is negative. So when the slope is positive, that will mean that this is greater than 0, and that happens at any value where x is greater than 0. You can just see that because there's only multiplication here. So you can see that when x is greater than 0, f prime of x will be positive. So you'll have positive slope over here. And now, when x is less than 0, for example, negative 8, we'd have 1/3 negative 8 to the minus 2/3. That's equal to negative 2 to the negative 2 times 1/3. That equals 1/3 times negative 1 over 4, which equals negative 1 over 12. As you can see, for an x less than 0, we'll have a negative slope over here. Now what we need to analyze is the rate of change in slopes. And to that, we're going to take the second derivative. So f prime prime of x is going to be equal to 1/3 times negative 2/3 x to the negative 4 over 3. Sorry if this is a little bit out of focus. Equals negative 2 over 9 x to the negative 4 over 3. Okay, and we can see from here that when x is positive, x to the negative 4/3 is also going to be positive, but then we multiply by negative 9 over 2. So when x is positive, the slope is, when x is greater than 0, f prime prime of x is negative, and when x is less than 0, f prime prime of x is positive. Okay, so now the slope here is positive. Looking at for x greater than 0, we know the slope is positive, and it's increasing at a decreasing rate. So that looks something like this. And now for this negative, for x less than 0, we know the slope is going to be negative. But we know the slope is going to be negative, but the slope is increasing at an increasing rate. So it's going to look something like that. So right there, we have just graphed y equals x to the 1/3 by using the first and second derivatives. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.